All right, welcome back. It's Back to the Basics. I'm Sean Barr, and today we are talking about sitting on a dock, catching fish. Not that kind of fish. I'm talking about the phishing, the getting your data. Let's go! All right, we are back, and we are talking about phishing, and not the type of phishing you do from a boat. We are talking about phishing. That's getting information, sensitive information, from somebody through tricking them. So what are the types of phishing? Well, there's spear phishing, there's clone phishing, and there's something called whaling. So let's start with clone phishing. So clone type phishing is where you may have a password reset or a piece of an email that you've seen in the past that asks you to do something with a particular site. Maybe it's email like Office 365, or maybe it's your banking website, but it looks exactly like something you would get from your bank or Office 365, asking you to log in, maybe reset a password, maybe get a piece of data. So there's something enticing that they want you to click on. So you click on the site, and potentially the website you go to looks exactly like Office 365 or any other site, like a banking site. You put in your credentials and you don't obviously log in. And so, or in some cases, maybe they try to redirect those credentials. But essentially what they're doing is capturing information, sensitive information, particularly your username and password. And so then it goes into a database. The attackers get that information, and you may not even know that it happened to you. And then all of a sudden now they've got access to your account. So let's talk now about whaling and spear phishing. So spear phishing is where maybe it's someone that's in your organization that, let's say you're a manager and you've got an assistant in your organization. And through LinkedIn and social media, you can find out who that assistant is. And I go and send an email as the manager to this assistant and say, hey, I need you to buy some credit cards or buy some gift cards and send them to this address, or wire some money or send a check. That's an example of spear phishing. And whaling is actually going in the opposite direction, targeting a high profile like an executive or maybe an actor or something like that, where you're targeting them directly with information that you may know about them. Something like, hey, it could be something like a lawsuit is coming your way, or a potential customer, or your business license has expired. Those types of things would get the attention of an executive. So that's called whaling. So those are the three types: spear phishing, cloning, and whaling. So how do you prevent these types of attacks? Well, preventing them is one is education. So looking at these emails, making sure that the domain name that's on the source email matches the domain name of Office 365 or your bank. You got to look for the details. So you can't quickly look at these types of emails. You've got to look at the source, because sometimes they may say, let's say it's Bank of America as an example, bankofamerica.fakedomain.com. It may say login.bankofamerica.fakedomain.com. And if you're just looking at that domain, you go login.bankofamerica. Oh, it's legitimate. You got to look at the entire source to make sure that it's correct. Now, if you're going to click on a link, so let's say you're in the body of the email, you're going to click on a link. The link in there, you're going to hover over that and make sure that the full domain is actually the site you think it is. Additionally, two-factor authentication. What's two-factor authentication? Well, that's something that I know and something that I have in traditional sense. So I've got my phone, I know my password, and through technology, it's going to push me a PIN or a password passcode. And so I'm going to log into the site. It's going to say I'm going to send you a request through some two-factor authentication mechanism. It's going to arrive on my phone. I'm going to key that in. So that's going to help prevent, if somebody does phish your password, at least you're going to have that second layer of security that they're not going to get access. And so if you see maybe on your device, hey, it prompted with a PIN, then you know you've been phished and somebody's got your account. You better go reset that password. A lot covered here on phishing. If I said anything in this video that you're like, hey, give me more info on that, leave a comment, like, subscribe, and we will see you on the next Back to the Basics. Thanks for watching.